Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today, hopefully, I'm going to help you decide which cream bronzer is right for you. If you're new to my channel, a very special welcome to you. I hope you will consider subscribing before you leave if you like what you see today. And of course, I can't actually tell you which cream product is going to be right for you, but hopefully with all the information and the demonstrations that I have to bring to you today, you can make that decision based on some science and testing from me. I first want to refer you over to a get ready with me that I did recently using all cream products. I'm going to have that linked up in the eye and down in the description box below in case you want to see some more cream products in action, including one of these cream bronzers. And I also wanted to mention that for all of the demonstrations, I did wear my Coats SPF, which also acts as my primer, my Misha BB cream, because it is my holy grail and I know how it behaves with all other products that I own essentially, as well as the number 7 Perfect Light pressed powder, which is the powder that I always use when I'm testing any kind of product that I will be wearing powder with. And then I also wanted to mention to you that for all the looks, I used a beauty blender on one side and my Delium Tools 958 Duo Fiber powder blending. Works well for creams too. On the other side. The first product that I tested out for you and brought in as a part of this little collection of cream bronzers is this one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Hollywood Contour Wand. I have mine in the shade Fair Medium. It's a really nice shade for me. I find that it does work for a contour because it has maybe a little bit of cool to it, or maybe it's closer to neutral. But then when blended out, and I kind of waited a little too long, it's a little bit more warm, or at least it appears a little bit more warm. And so that's why I included it in this grouping of cream bronzers. This one comes in at 0.41 fluid ounces and it's $38. Now, when comparing this to the other cream products in this video, I wasn't able to really compare it in like a price per gram capacity as I did the other ones because this is liquid, but I did want to compare it to the other ones in case this is something you were considering and you decide you don't want a cream at all, you want more of a liquid. And this does have some unique qualities to it that do make it stand out from the other products in this video. I definitely prefer to apply this one with a beauty blender or another beauty sponge, mostly because it is a liquid. It, as I said, it dries down really quickly. This is already completely dry. It almost was before I blended it out for you. And so I find that the added moisture, this is not a beauty blender, this is the Beauty Junkie sponge that I use today. But I find with the little bit of moisture or dampness that's in the sponge, that really helps keep this product moist enough, wet enough, for long enough to blend it out really beautifully. And in general, spoiler alert, I really find that it's just a whole lot quicker to blend out cream bronzers or contours with a sponge. It just goes faster. It definitely has a natural finish, which is absolutely stunning. And one of the things I love the most about this product, it's a beautiful shade as well for my skin tone. And they do have a darker version of this that's for deeper skin tones. I can't speak on that one, but I know my girl Heather Austin has both shades, so you might check out her channel if you want to hear about the darker shade. Very, very easy to apply. Like I said, when I used the sponge, I struggled a lot more when using the brush because, like I said, the dry down just happens so quickly that because there's no added moisture with the brush, it makes it a little bit more precarious and just harder to use, in my opinion. I also can't dip directly into the product with the brush, and that is one con, in my opinion, to this product, is I don't love the packaging. I just find this to be really cumbersome. I like something that I can lay down on my vanity and either dip my sponge or my brush directly into the product. Whereas with this one, I have to pick it up, dot it on, blend it out, pick it up, dot it on, blend it out, so on and so forth. And it just is a little bit more fussy. The other thing about this is you never quite know how much product is on or in this little puff on the end here. So you might go to put it on and it's very full of product and you get too much product, or you might draw it on and find out you don't have enough product on here, then have to open it back up, squeeze up the product, close it back up, and put it on, put on more. And by that time, it's possible that your original stripe is dried. So I just want to say that this is definitely not my favorite packaging. And then another con to this product, in my opinion, is that it does fade pretty close to 50% by the 6-hour mark. And that's pretty consistent, if I'm being honest, with the Charlotte Tilbury products, unless you take great pains to try to extend the longevity, whether it's through a primer, a very stout setting powder, or even something like all-nighter setting spray. I'm just not into that. But I know that when I go to use this product, and that's why I want to share that information with you. There's a lot of times where I just want to wear this for 6 hours or less, or for an evening. Here comes the sun. And it doesn't matter to me that it starts to fade. So that's that one. The second product that I tested out for this video is the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer Stick. I have mine in the shade Baked, and this is what it looks like when you first swipe it on the skin. This has always been one that I wasn't for sure if it was my favorite shade or not, but I think what the thing is that this is not my favorite shade when I'm pale. But now that my skin has started to sort of deepen a little bit naturally, I don't mind the shade as much, which is really interesting to me. This is $28 for 28 grams of product. This by far contains the most amount of product of all the products I'm going to speak about today. This comes in at $1 per gram, in case I need to say that. So again, for the Milk Makeup Bronzer, I definitely preferred the sponge. Again, this is not a beauty blender, but I did use the beauty blender for all of these tests. I just tried to keep all of the factors as controlled and consistent as possible. I just really like with a sponge how I can just pick this up right off of the stick and start applying it to my face. A lot of people just like to draw this directly on the face. I personally find it easier and quicker to blend out without picking up any products that might be underneath, including powder, because I do powder my face before I apply any cream or liquid bronzers or blush or highlight for that matter. So I found the easiest way was just to pick this right up off of the stick and then just start applying it to the skin. It almost feels greasy when you touch the product, but it's not. And in fact, this one sets down completely. It says it's a matte bronzer, and while I wouldn't say it's matte, or it might be matte, but it's definitely not flat, if that makes sense. It doesn't have a flat look to it. I mean, because you'll see this is set down now on the back of my hand, and you can see it's not flat. I mean, but there's also no luminous qualities to it either, and I think that's probably where they're coming from. But it does set down completely, and I do really like that. So by the 6-hour mark with the Milk Makeup Bronzer, I found that it had faded little, if none at all. It was all still there as far as I could tell, and I was really impressed with that. It is definitely pretty warm here in Colorado already, so that's very impressive to me. I'm a sweaty person. I have combo to oily skin, and this is a really, really long-lasting cream bronzer insofar as I can tell. This is, like I said, very easy to use. I definitely preferred it with a sponge, but it also applies just as easily with a brush if that is your preferred method. And the packaging. The packaging is definitely functional, and it's more than functional. It's very sturdy. There's no faults in the packaging. It does get a little messy, but I think when you have white packaging and a brown bronzer that's cream, that's just what's going to happen. The next one that I tested for this video was the Fenty Beauty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Bronzer, and I picked mine up in the shade Butter Biscuit. Actually, I got this for Mother's Day, but it was on my wish list. I think this is one of my favorite shades that I have in cream bronzer for sure. It's definitely more neutral, and when it blends out, while it adds warmth, there is not a hint of orange or yellow to be seen, which I really appreciate. I also did do a dedicated video to this Fenty product as well as one of the Cheeks Out Freestyle cream blushes, so I'll link that up in the eye and down in the description box for you in case you missed that. This one, in terms of what I preferred, spoiler alert, I prefer all of these with the Beauty Blender or a sponge. And the one thing I will say about this one, however, is that while I preferred using it with a sponge, I liked the look of it just as well with the brush as I did with the sponge, whereas with the other two that we've already spoken about, I definitely preferred the look with the sponge as well as the application. This product is $32 for 6.23 grams, making it $5.13 per gram. This product feels emollient. You know, it's creamy when you rub your finger into it, but it also feels very firm. Like if I pressed my finger into the product, it would not give way. This one definitely sets down completely. I really appreciate that. I love cream products, but I'm not into dewy cream products that stay tacky or creamy or anything like that on the skin. That's just not a good mixture for someone who has combo to oily skin. And this one I also found it really easy to use regardless of what tool I used. I preferred it with the sponge, but it applied just as easily with the brush. And even with my phalanges, I like to take this and sort of tap it over the bridge of my nose and then blend it down into the product that I've already applied on my cheeks. Just for a real, you know, I've been out in the sun look. I really do love this packaging. I think that this is very sturdy, has a nice mirror in here in case you're in the habit of using those. I think overall this packaging feels like a $32 product. While this product, the Milk Makeup Stick, is only $4 cheaper. This packaging, while functional and while it doesn't compromise any kind of use of the product, is very chintzy, very cheap. It doesn't feel anything like this type of packaging. And then with the Fenty product, I did feel like this faded to by about 25% by the 6-hour mark, but not any more than that, probably 25% or less. I felt like this had faded, but overall a really good product. I was really excited to receive it for Mother's Day, and part of it was just the color. When I saw the shade Butter Biscuit, I was like, yes, that looks like my perfect cream bronzer shade, and it is pretty perfect. Now this last product I absolutely did not have on my radar to purchase. I mean, when it came out, I was like, oh, I just bought the Fenty one, so I probably won't buy that one. But then I watched a video, I believe it was Jena Frose. I'm not for sure how you pronounce her last name, Jena, but I'm going to link the video down below that I'm talking about. And she was talking about how this particular product compares to the OG Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. And I missed that boat, and now it's too late, and I'll probably piss and moan about it forever, to be honest. Anyhow, when she did a video, and ultimately this does not dupe the Chanel, but it's very similar in color and very similar in the effect on the skin. She did a side-by-side application with the OG Chanel and this product, and I was impressed enough that I ordered the mini. And that is the Tarte C Breezy Cream Bronzer, and this is in the shade Seychelles. It's very creamy. It dries down completely, which is definitely a must-have for me. Has great lasting power. I felt, again, like this faded less than 25% throughout the day, and probably not really at all. This was so easy to use. Like, so easy. Any of these products that I find easier to apply with a sponge, fine. This one was even easier to pick up and apply with the sponge. It was like, you know, with the Fenty one or the Milk Makeup one, I would pick it up with the sponge, and I'm sitting here and I'm blending and I'm blending and I'm blending. And then with the Tarte one, I would pick it up and blend it in, and I'm like, oh, I'm done blending. It's like pat, 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 done. So easy, so effortless. I couldn't even believe it. To be honest, it was like one of those things where the first time I used it, I was like, oh, like, did my life just change? Did it? I don't know. So it was super easy to use, and I really like this packaging. It looks kind of dinky. I mean, if you hold this up to the Fenty, which I'm going to compare it to in a second, you hold this up to the Fenty, this looks kind of dinky. It maybe even looks a little chintzy, but I do want to make one comparison. This product right here from Tarte is $14 for 6 grams, okay? This product from Fenty, which looks a ton bigger, is $32 for 6.23 grams. So this one is the most expensive per gram at $5.13 per gram, and this one is $2.30 per gram. See where I'm getting at here? What are you doing to us here, Fenty? So anyways, here is Tarte Seychelles. I'm sorry I didn't swatch it from the get-go, but this is a really, really pretty color. In fact, I would say that this is probably my favorite color out of the 4. It has a little bit of maybe a reddish or rosy undertone to me, which is definitely my jam when it comes to bronzer colors in general, not just cream bronzer colors. All right, I have a few cream bronzer awards that I want to give out to these products just to clarify a few points for you, or at least how I feel about these products. The first one is easiest application. You might have guessed it. It's the Tarte Breezy Cream Bronzer. This completely took me aback by how quickly this blended out. It's easy to pick up with this sponge. I don't have to grind my sponge into it. I just tap into it, blend it out on my skin. This is the one I'm wearing today. The next award goes to the longest lasting longevity bronzer, Milk, by far. Tarte one, very, very similar, but I think this is going to hold up even to the sweatiest of people. I think this is going to be the best performing for the oiliest of skins that wants to use a cream bronzer. Hopefully you get the picture. This is the longest lasting. Best bang for your buck product, again, Milk Makeup. It's very close, I will say. Well, this doesn't come with nearly as much product, not even a fraction. They're pretty close, or the closest to each other in terms of price per gram. This is $1, this is $2.30. So I think, you know, honestly, if you don't think you're gonna go through 28 grams of this bronzer, you could buy the mini of this bronzer. This might be a better second alternative because again, you're not overpaying for the price per ounce. You could get the full size even, and you know, you still have plenty of cream bronzer. Like, this is enough for me, my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. Not that it'll be good by then. Best packaging. Definitely goes to the Fenty. This is beautiful. It looks nice, it feels nice, it's sturdy, you have a nice mirror. This is a nice big pan size to be able to reach any tool into here to pick it up. And, you know, I think that's part of what you're paying for here is this kind of packaging. And then the last two, and these are neither good nor bad. I want to make that clear. Neither of these categories is either good or bad. It's just dependent upon what you want from your cream bronzer, and that's why I included these two. The most sheer application goes to the Fenty product. That, again, is not a bad thing. Some people want a sheer application, and I will say that this is beautifully buildable. So that might be exactly what you want if you want a sheer application so that you could wear the same color during the winter, sheared out, as you do during the summer, built up. See what I'm saying? Or more, sometimes people feel like a sheer bronze is more natural looking or more flattering or so on. Most pigmented, definitely the Milk Makeup. I want to say that this is pretty darn pigmented, and I kind of went back and forth for a while there, but this is definitely more pigmented. It does take more to blend it out, and that's why I prefer to pick it up with a sponge and apply it that way. I can build it if I want to versus drawing it on my face and really working to blend it out, possibly picking up products underneath, as well as possibly, you know, swiping just a little bit too much, and then I have trouble blending it out. So this is definitely pigmented. The last two things that I want to talk about real quickly is, number one, are these worth the price to me? And then the last thing is, which one was my favorite? Any guesses? So first and foremost, the Charlotte Tilbury. This one I struggled with. At first I was like, absolutely yes, I love everything from Charlotte Tilbury. But then when I looked at it under the lens of, is this worth the money to me enough that I would repurchase this product? And the answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because I've now found 3 others that are just as good, but less, you know, less cost. This one's $38, which is still more than this Milk Makeup one, and I think it's pretty clear that where you're getting more product. This is a fantastic product, and I really love it. I love it every time I use it. This is my favorite cream bronzer and or bronzer to wear on no makeup days, or light makeup days is probably more appropriate. So I do love this one, but I don't think it's worth the $38. Not to mention, and I know I'm not the only one that had this reaction, but when I first received this product, it looked like a nice full tube of liquid contour. I went to use it for the first time. I opened this up so I could squeeze out the product, and half of the tube was air. For $38, I got a half a tube of air and a half a tube of liquid contour. It's a beautiful product, but that kind of torques me off a little bit. Milk Makeup. Is this worth the price to me? 100% Yes. You get a ton of product in here. Even if I never use this up, say my great-grandchildren aren't interested in using my 50-year-old Milk Makeup bronzer stick, I'm not going to feel as bad about it because I'm paying $1 per gram. And that cuts the cost of use, or the cost per use, way down. Which means if a little bit goes to waste, or it dries out, or something like that, I'm not going to feel as heartbroken as if this dried up or was unusable for some reason. So I think this is well worth the price. Do I recommend you buy the full size? No. I think you'll be more than happy and have plenty of product if you go with the mini on this one. Is the Fenty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Bronzer in the shade Butter Biscuit worth the price to me? No. 100% no. I love this product. It's very beautiful. It applies beautifully. It wears beautifully. All of this. But knowing now what I didn't know before about how much is in this versus how much is in this, with only a 0.23 grams difference between these two, and this is less than half the price of this one, and I love this one, I don't think this one's worth the price to me, to be honest. Again, I kind of had to look under it, under the guise of, if all of these cream bronzers disappeared tomorrow, would I repurchase this one? No, I would not. Last but not least, and I think we all know the answer, is the Tarte Breezy cream bronzer in the shade Seychelles, worth the price to me. 1000%. Yes, this is a fantastic deal. I'm so glad that even when I looked and I was like, oh, that's very small online, I knew I didn't want to buy another full-size cream bronzer, but I still really wanted to try that, especially after I saw Jena's video. So, is this worth the money to me? 1000%. Yes, it's got a good amount of product in it, you know, compared to the Fenty at least. The price is right, and spoiler alert, this is my favorite. Out of all four of these, including the Charlotte Tilbury, which I love, this is my favorite for so many reasons. Number one, I think the packaging is adorable. I really love the color. It's the easiest to apply. It looks flawless on my skin. Again, this is what I'm wearing today. I love the ease of use. I love that it doesn't fade throughout the day, and I just love it. I'm really, really glad that I picked this up. I don't feel quite so sad about the fact that I've forever missed out on the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. And I just really like this. I'll be reaching for this a ton. But I hope this information was helpful to you. I know a lot of people are looking into purchasing cream bronzers, especially as we move into summer and as things like cream bronzer are getting more and more popular here on the platform and otherwise. So hopefully this video was helpful to you in some way, shape, or form. If it was, I would love it if you would subscribe before you leave, like this video, or dislike if you didn't like it, and share it with your friends, family, and social media, because it all really helps me out here on the platform. It gets me noticed, it gets me recognized, and it gets me suggested to other people so we can all make more friends down in the comments. Do you have a favorite cream bronzer? Do you like cream bronzer? Do you hate cream bronzer? Let me know down in the comments below, and I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful cream bronzer makeup days. And I will see you in my next video real soon.